Thank you. Let this program begin.
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Jeremiah Kwanku, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, our esteemed guests and dignitaries, members of the Folk Estates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to this high-level event to celebrate the 2024 World Population Day under the theme Embracing the Power of Inclusive Data Towards a Resilient and Equitable Future for All. I am Abdul Hamed Famule, your Master of Ceremony, a youth activist and former intern of UNFPA Liberia, and I'm with.
My name is Victoria Wanyanzi. I'm an intern at the Kids Education Engagement Project, and also a senior student at Massachusetts College of Education, and member of the Liberian Voices for Accelerating the RCPT. And also, I'm a visually impaired woman. I want to let you know that my visual impairment is not stopping me to, from moving forward. So, my visual impairment, my disability is not my inability. Thank you. And this event is a collaboration between UNFPA and the government of Liberia through the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. Our event has a variety of activities and aims to provide learning and enjoyment. We have some highlights of key activities I will be carrying on today. We have official speeches, we have panel discussions, and we also have keynote speech will be done by our Vice President, and the launch of the State of the World Population Report for 2024. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, before our opening speeches, may we all stand as we ask the Saber and Free State School of Excellence to sing the national anthem of the Republic of Liberia.
Within the tomb of night. She lives in her promise and draws her nation love for love to the destiny. The Lone Star forever, the Lone Star forever, who long may float over land, over sea. Certain no never upholding forever, who shall for the Lone Star by night.
Thank you. So at this time, we will have invocation from a volunteer religious leader. You may have a seat. Is there any religious leader here? So let us bow. Our Lord and our God, we want to say thank you for this occasion. We want to say thank you for bringing us here safely, and we hope and pray that our program will be as smooth as it can be. This we ask in Jesus' name, amen.
Okay, so after the introduction, we have the next item. Distinguished personalities and ladies and gentlemen. So, formally opening the celebration of the 2024 World Population Day, I invite Honorable Tene Bonsky, the Deputy Minister of Budget and Development Planning at the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning of Liberia, who will grace us with a few words. After the minister's address, I will welcome Madam Delisha Pila, who will read the UNFPA Executive Director World Population Day statement. You can put a hand together for the minister.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone. His Excellency, Honorable Jeremiah Fankum, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, officials of government of Liberia, members of the legislature, members of the diplomatic corps, members of the United Nations, members of the United Nations and international agencies, representatives of the private sector and or business community, representatives of civil society organizations, representatives of our young people, representatives of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased to welcome you to the 2024 celebration of the World Population Day and the official launch of this year's State of the World Population Report. The government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning and Dishes, has worked with the United Nations Development Fund, Population Fund, and the UN Sexual Reproductive Health Agencies to bring relevant stakeholders from diverse backgrounds together to reflect on the importance of population and development. We are celebrating World Population Day at a very important national and global moment. Liberia is in the process of developing the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development, which will embody the priorities of His Excellency President Joseph Numa Boyka to transform Liberia and bring rescue and relief for the people. President Boyka's bold agenda is simple and clear: to arrest poverty in the track across all dimensions. The ongoing exercise to develop the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development is inclusive, transparent, and consultative, in that it reflects the strong commitment of the government for bottom-up democratic participation, which offers spaces and voices for all groups, especially the youth, women and girls, persons with disabilities, to have their views and perspectives reflected in the local and national priority settings. The new development plan will offer a pathway forward from business as usual. The development agenda will build on 6 solid pillars: agriculture, roads, rule of law, education, sanitation and health, and tourism. These are the pillars upon which macroeconomic success will be built for the much-needed transformation of the economy and the bold drive to arrest poverty. The celebration of this year's World Population Day is timely, and with this theme, embracing the power of inclusive data towards resilient and equitable future for all, it comes to remind us of the necessity to fully integrate population dynamics and all demographic variables into the ongoing planning process, as recommended by the ICPD agenda. The completed census comes at the best moment for Liberia. It provides us with up-to-date data on the state, the structure, the dynamics of our population. I want to use this opportunity to congratulate the indigenous team and the technical experts from the UNFPA for their continuous efforts to collect and analyze the data and for the tenacity through the challenges we face. I'm also grateful to the donor partners, including the World Bank, Sweden, Ireland, USAID, ECOWAS, the Republic of Ghana, and our UN country team for the unwavering support of the census project. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Liberia needs urgent action to accelerate progress in many human development indicators. The number of women losing their lives due to preventable related causes, birth-related causes, are one of the highest in the world. The rate of infant mortality is still too high. These are not statistics. They represent the lives, struggles of many families across our country. It is these kinds of human development challenges that urges us to interrogate the theory of change that will underpin both the priorities and the methods for achieving them. At the global level, the clock is ticking to when the Sustainable Development 2030 is expected to be realized. As part of the monumental effort to reset global cooperation, the United Nations will in September at the Summit of the Future. The United Nations will host hundreds of world leaders, policymakers, experts, and advocates in September at the Summit of the Future. The goal is to rethink what materialism means in a rapidly changing world. Liberia remains firmly committed to the goals of multilateralism. Liberia is experiencing and overcoming conflicts, and two pandemics reflect a strong resilience that can be an inspiration to other countries. The foundation of Liberia's democratic institutions are robust, and a remarkable rule of law transition from one elected government to an 2024 further consolidates this credential. Liberia sees the upcoming Summit for the Future as a very important in deciding the post-SDG Global Development Agenda. The 5 pillars of the Pact for the Future, namely sustainable development and financing for development, international peace and security, science, technology, innovation, and digital cooperation, youth and future generations, and transforming global governance provide the basis of ongoing negotiations and dialogue around the new global development agenda. Both Liberia's National Development Planning and the post-SDG development architecture rely on inclusive, evidence-based data. Which brings me to why we are proud of our collaboration with UNFPA to celebrate World Population Day and to officially launch the State of the World Population Report. As part of this program, we will listen to presentations and reflections on the global trends in population dynamics from the recent population census. These presentations will be followed by a high-level panel of representatives of key government institutions and key international development partners to share their perspectives on the policy implications of the population dynamics. The panel will be moderated by the young people as part of the intergenerational dialogue on such an important topic. We are delighted to have His Excellency Jeremiah Falcone to give the keynote address and officially launch the 2024 State of the World Population Report. In conclusion, as I welcome you to enjoy this program, I would like to leave you with one reflection from this year's theme, embracing the power of inclusive data, a resilient and equitable future for all. As the world moves to a new era of data collection, societies must work to ensure processes are rights respected and individuals' information is protected while gathering data that captures their multifaceted experience. Thank you.
Embracing the power of inclusive data toward a resilient and equitable future for all. Thank you, Madam Lieutenant Bromfield, for that splendid remark. Now we will call on the reading of the Executive Director of UNFPA World Population Day statement by Madam Felicia Haley.
Excellency, Honorable Jeremiah Falcone, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, Honorable Ministers present here on the dais, President Coordinator, officials of the Government of Liberia, members of the legislature present here today, members of the Diplomatic Corps, my friends and colleagues from the United Nations and the international agencies, most importantly, our partner organizations and young people here today, representatives of the media, and ladies and gentlemen. It is really an honor for us to be here today at this event for World Population Day and to launch the State of the World Population, which is being hosted and led by the government of Liberia through the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. I would like to read the statement from our Executive Director, Dr. Natalia Kanem. Start quote. For humanity to progress, people must be counted wherever they are and whoever they are, in all their diversity. To end inequality, to find and grow peace and prosperity, to weave more threads of hope, the world needs to do more for inclusion. To go uncounted is to be made invisible, and as a result, left unserved. This contributes to a 10-year-old girl being left behind with no health care when she is displaced during conflict, or to an older woman with a disability having no safety net when a crisis strikes. It leaves a newborn in a remote indigenous community without the passport protection that birth registration offers. Over the last 3 decades, heeding the call of the 1994 International Conference on Population and Development, societies around the world have made tremendous strides in improving population data gathering, analysis, and use. New population numbers, disaggregated by age, ethnicity, gender, and other factors, reflect the diversity of our societies. To take just one example, approximately 2/3 of the countries now include questions on disability in their census. Advances like these have improved the delivery of healthcare to people all over the world, resulting in significant leaps forward in sexual and reproductive health and the ability to exercise rights and choices. Increasingly, new technologies are enabling more granular and timely measurement of more people's experiences than ever before. Even so, the most marginalized communities are still underrepresented in data, and the consequences of this deeply affect their lives and well-being. Recent UNFPA research reveals acute and growing inequalities within and among countries. In too many places, for example, women from racial and ethnic minority groups are nearly invisible in statistics that track maternal deaths. This is one reason why health and social services overlook their needs and a far greater share of these women die giving birth. World Population Day 2024 is a moment to ask, what is still going uncounted and why? And what this costs individuals, societies, and our global efforts to leave no one behind. It is also a moment for us to commit to doing more to ensure that our data systems capture the full range of human diversity so that everyone is seen, can exercise their human rights, and reach their full potential. 30 years on from Cairo, there's much to be celebrated, but still much work to be done. People may be hard to reach, but no one is unreachable. To realize the rights and choices of those pushed to the margins of our societies, we have to count them, because everyone counts. Our rich human tapestry is only as strong as the weakest thread. When data and other systems work for those on the margins, they work for everyone. This is how we accelerate progress for all. End of quote. I'd like to say one thing before I take my seat, and that is we will be launching the State of the World Population Report today. And the underlying theme within that is, of course, to recognize inequalities, but also to recognize the rich diversity that we have as humanity, which is reflected through tapestry, right? Because every country's cloth and weaving is different, patterns are different, textures are different, and the report reflects that in order to really respect and value the diversity of the cultures we have as humanity and the people we have. Behind every statistic, there is a story, there is a human being, and humanity is an 8 billion strong tapestry of hopes and desires. So to end, I would like to end with a quote from one of my favorite poets, Maya Angelou. We all should know that diversity makes for a rich tapestry, and we must understand that all the threads of the tapestry are equal in value, no matter what their color. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Madam Bidisha. Now it's time for the young voices, spoken words by our young white Ms. Viola Nimini.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Viola Nimini, and I'm about to do a piece titled Pissed. It's actually a controversial piece, but I hope it inspires us to invest in Liberia and its population. I walked the streets of Monrovia through its lows. I noticed just a few highs, leaving the multitude hungry for bread dwelling in the lows. I smelt her filth, a stench of death, yet I was asked the same question: why aren't you smiling? A pretty girl like you should wear a smile on her face. Well, excuse my frown, for I am pissed and tired of the life my people continue to live. I am pissed and say to myself, I might puke at any of the mess caused by the system. A system with no regards for its people. A system built to break rather than fix. I heard education was the key, right? Yet the kids cannot find the door in which this key fits. Matter of fact, even the keys have been stolen, for the price of education continues to rise, yet its quality diminishes like a brick wall soaked in water. We watch as it crumbles, but we do nothing. We're playing the blame game. Simon says you are to be blamed, you, not me. We continue to look for who is at fault rather than the solution to these problems. Matter of fact, all the other problems of hunger, lack of water, surrounded by lakes and rivers that our taps don't flow, problems of sexual abuse and harassment. So what we only talk about when it concerns someone we don't know, but when it does, we claim we know them all so well, there's no way they will do something like that, but I won't apologize for wearing a frown for up to now, 177 years in counting, and we still can't find a way to feed ourselves. So we built our houses below the poverty line. There's no way to move out. I refuse to wear a smile, for our policies are only good on paper, and our laws are a sweet aside, of which makes me weak. But see, any day now, my people will gather in the streets in celebration of the mess we call a system. See, my people, they march. But not for freedom. You see, my people, they march. But they march chanting the names of those keeping them in chains, so I'm pissed. But you would not see what
Wow. That was splendid. But that's just a gist of what you get today. So next we will have Miss Chris T. Jimerton for another spoken word. Okay, so it's a duet. So it's Miss Chris T. Jimerton and Mr. Jiva V. Collin.
Good morning, everyone. So as you've heard, I'm Jiva V. Kone, and I'll be performing a duet with Phoenix Faye. You're not seeing her now because she represents the voices of the silent people. So this piece is titled Beyond Mere Numbers, and it's dedicated to World Population Day.
In the shadows of open hours when rough breaks of prey I stand, a forgotten soul in the kingdom of both. Where the air is thick with privilege and the streets echo his deed. On this World Population Day, I raise my voice in plea for I am the unseen, the voiceless in your midst, ignored, pushed aside in a world where riches persist. While feasts adorn your tables and luxury braces your door as scavenge for scraps, just a specter under the door.
The word population, derived from the Latin word populus, meaning people. Dictionary says it is the whole number of inhabitants in a particular country or region. Don't you see? The whole number, a total, a sum, a figure.
You speak of numbers, billions and more, yet my existence comes little, my cries ignore me or no. Order to conceptualize life, we must quantify, but have you stopped for a second to ask yourself what these figures represent beyond mere numbers?
You're right. Like the number tell me the dreams of children in rural Liberia walking miles between towns for education. Can it feed you? Can statistics depict the strength of a single mother of three in our town who has to protect her children from the peer pressure like a lioness protects its cub from predators,
worried that producing too much will render him a loser. He lacks a storage facility.
or can he calculate the courage he exudes to attempt to feed his people despite the many challenges? UNFPA reports that young people make up 63% of Liberia's population, yet our voices are only heard as laws, and our values only recognized during elections.
But hear me now, world, as I speak my truth today. But hear me now, world, as I speak my truth today. I am not just a statistic, I am more than your oversight for every life that struggles in the grip of disparity, deserves a change and dignity and parity.
See, what is the essence of these glorified figures when the figures in power fail to act upon them? What is the essence of collecting data only to have omissive policies?
What is inclusive data without omissive policy?
See, these questions continue to puzzle us like a student before a math test paper.
And amidst these starving worlds where inequality thrives, I see mothers burdened, struggling to survive their bodies, bear the weight of generations yet to come, but their voices are silent and their battles are often undone.
When a report tells us that 854 of our mothers died during childbirth, do we celebrate because the 99,156 who lived during the 100,000 is small compared to the huge number of mothers who are dying because they are giving birth at home, therefore they are uncounted and unaccounted for?
You see, a mother's life is a testament to strength untold, her dreams often deferred, her stories left untold. I mean, isn't this what inclusive data is about?
Inclusive sources, information gathered here from the trenches in the corners of the country where light never penetrates because it is too far from the reach of LEC.
So who is still uncounted and unaccounted for, you ask?
It is the number of disadvantaged youth sports logos ruminating the ends of our streets like forgotten dreams haunting the light.
Yet amidst the shadows, their spirits flicker with resilience, even when the day temporary bed then give me a boom, they glow like stars in the darkness, waiting to illuminate our shared path to a brighter tomorrow.
I tell you, you see, in order to attain an equitable future, it starts by the embrace of inclusion. Inclusion of the kind that will inspire us to recognize that all hopes are equal, whether whispered through the dark or shouted from the rooftops.
So let us shout from these rooftops, that our voices cascade like unity, be our anthem, diversity, the parade of the symphony of humanity. Every youth breaks through. You see, inclusion isn't just a word or statistic. Inclusion is the very essence and fabric of who we are.
Touching. So touching. Let us clap for them one more time. Thank you, Chris and Judah. Thank you so much. At this time, we'll call on Madam Christine Momotoni to give her remarks as the UN Resident Coordinator.
Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, Honorable Jeremiah Kong, Honorable Ministers present, senior government officials, members of the legislature, the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and members of international organizations, UN colleagues, civil society organizations, all present, allow me to stand on existing protocols. I'll begin by reading the message of the United Nations Secretary General for World Population Day, and I quote, "This year marks the 13th anniversary of the International Conference on Population and Development, ICPD, Program of Action. It must also be the year we resolve to accelerate efforts and investments to turn its promises into a reality. Central to the ICPD Program of Action is the recognition that women's sexual and reproductive health and reproductive rights are the cornerstone of sustainable development. In the decades since it was adopted, we have made progress. More women than ever have access to modern contraception. Maternal deaths have fallen 34% since the year 2000. The women's movement and civil society have been critical to climate change. But progress has. It is outrageous that well into the 21st century, around 800 women die needlessly every day in pregnancy and childbirth, the vast majority in developing countries. Advances in tackling vital issues such as female genital mutilation risk going into reverse. As the theme of this year's World Population Day reminds us, investing in data collection is important to understand the problems, tailoring solutions, and driving progress. So is finance. Are every countries to make the most of the Summit of the Future this year to unleash affordable capital for sustainable development? Let's deliver the ICPD Program of Action for everyone in the world. End of quote. That was the United Nations Secretary General message for today. I'll say a few remarks on behalf of the UN family on the ground. And just to reiterate that it's an honor and privilege for me to speak on behalf of the UN family on the World Population Day, whose theme is embracing the power of inclusive data towards a resilient and equitable future for all. And it's really an opportune moment as we talk about the future for all to think and prepare for the Summit of the Future that is coming in September this year. What will be the messages? So I'm particularly delighted that the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia has honored us with his presence today. Thank you, Excellency. I would like to thank the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning and the government of Liberia, really headed by President Boakai, for their commitment to these issues, not only for supporting organizational events like this, but for the commitment to action. Ladies and gentlemen, when I listen to young people who were reading poems, it just comes to my mind the usual quote I make when I attend UNFPA events. When you don't count, you don't count. It's like when you don't count, 1, 2, 3, 4. When you have no numbers, or when you're not counted, you don't count, you don't matter, you are invisible. So when you don't count, you don't count. In other words, to understand the challenges that come before us, we must have the numbers. To have the right policies, we have the numbers. But the numbers are not enough. Young people challenge us. It's not enough to have the data, to have the policy document. It's important to count, to feel that you count, that matters, that action follows the numbers. So embracing the power of inclusive data can help close the gaps of some challenges, enabling more accuracy on assessments of the problems ahead us because of evidence-based policy, institutional design, and by creating new knowledge and sources that rely on data. Inclusive data for development has also the potential to accelerate impact, help to monitor progress, mobilize funding and resources, and more importantly, mobilize citizens to participate in their own development efforts. There is an increasing acknowledgement by all of the importance of data in tackling development challenges. And ICPE Beyond 2014 called for greater attention to addressing inequality in development with more systematic attention to underserved populations, good governance, and systems of accountability to ensure that quality data and knowledge are accessible to the public and all decision makers, and use of data on population dynamics to guide and target development investments. So it's only when we have the numbers that this can happen. Echoing this attention to inclusive development, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, adopted by all member states in 2015, placed the highest priority on ensuring that no one is left behind and serving first those farthest behind. A particular emphasis was made on the centrality of data as a driver of development. So unless you have the number, so would you know how many people are in rural areas, how many people are literate, how many people are left behind. That's why the UN Secretary General in 2015 requested in 2015 a joint effort of the UN Statistics Division, the UN sister agencies, and the international and regional organizations to enhance technical assistance to national statistics offices to strengthen capacity to implement the 2020 round of population and housing census as a fundamental priority for achieving sustainable development goals. And I'm glad that Liberia is one of those countries that have done it justice. Ladies and gentlemen, despite the many challenges, significant progress in the improvement of national data systems is evident in Liberia. The country conducted 2 population and housing censuses and 1 agriculture census over the last 20 years. Stable household surveys, including demographic and health, the labor force, and the household income and expenditure surveys have been widely deployed across the country. The household income and expenditure survey data was used to estimate poverty and provide other socioeconomic data ranging from education to agriculture. In 2024 and 2025, another round of the conduct of this survey is expected to be launched. The 2022 population and housing census will strengthen the national data ecosystem in Liberia by providing population denominators for many SDG indicators and the master sampling framework for all national and subnational surveillance. And I'm sure, as Minister of Finance says, this will benefit the planning process. The government has made the development of the country's capacity to produce and disseminate reliable, valid data a priority, and we thank the government for that. Now, with the arrest agenda for inclusive development, which is under development by the government, the availability of consistent and disaggregated statistical information has become more crucial and plays a prominent role for informing, designing, and monitoring targeted and programs. I have the conviction that if inclusive data are available and well disaggregated in easily accessible formats, it can be used for multiple purposes to scale. And that's why we really appreciate the census analytics that help us to look at some of these things. However, for this to effectively happen, stakeholders need to collaboratively work to create an enabling environment and address challenges that contribute to current sets of data. The enabling environment includes the enabling legal environment, policy frameworks, and opportunities for financing, investment in capacity building programs, opportunities for innovation, peer learning, South-South cooperation, just to mention a few. In closing, I want to take this opportunity to thank and congratulate the government of Liberia and all the partners for the progress made so far and for their continued commitment for the generation of inclusive data. Through me, the United Nations system would like to reiterate its willingness to work with the government, with our development partners, to create such an environment in Liberia which will facilitate access to and optimal use of inclusive data in informing Liberia's development agenda. We will progressively realize this ambition by working together and bringing all stakeholders together, because with everybody's support, I believe, yes, we can achieve the use of inclusive data to inform Liberia's development. And the time is now. Thank you so much.
Wow. I think we are learning, right? Because you said that this program is a variety of learning and enjoyment. So we have enjoyment from the national anthem, and I was actually taking the spoken word to be enjoyment, but then it was also a learning session. So part of the learning session, we have remarks by the doing of the diplomatic corps, His Excellency Mr. Ben Kiyala A. Gang. He's the ambassador of the Republic of Cameroon. Let us put our hands together for the ambassador.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Your Excellency, Mr. Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, Madam Robinson, standing in for the rest of the government, and all the dignitaries who are here this evening, this afternoon, including my colleagues of the diplomatic corps. Population issues for me are very complex issues, and I really don't envy the role of my dear friend Felicia as representative of the UNFPA in Liberia. Population issues, as you know, for us, in African context, some people want to have more children, some people don't want to have more children. Some people want to declare the children they have, some people don't want to declare the children they have. Some people are worried about the implications for migration and so on. Some people are worried about the size of the markets. So it's always a very difficult thing to do. But in this context, I want to thank my colleagues of the diplomatic corps and members of the international organizations like the UN in general and the other reaching out organizations, for the assistance that they continue to give. Our work in the diplomatic corps and media always puts population on the podium. Because as you see in many of the constitutions of the world, the purpose of government is about the comfort, the progress, and the peace of the population. Nothing else comes before population. And so when we come to join you on an occasion like this, it's because we know that we're talking about ourselves as we need a billion population in the world and beyond. Maybe somebody doesn't like what you said. We are starting at the crossroads, debating whether we want to get to 9 million or we want to keep it down to 7 million. We want to worry about whether we are dealing with an aging population or we are dealing with a dynamic young population. And so these debates will continue to animate our fora and discussions and debates as we move along. And so in this regard, on the World Population Day, I want to congratulate us because we are the population we are talking about, what we take care of ourselves. And I would speak particularly to the youth. That what worries people when they discuss population sometimes is about inordinate migration. This leads us to think that countries like Liberia and others, and I'm only quoting Liberia because we are here, the same principles apply to our other countries, but we must endeavor to be very hands-on and take care of ourselves so that we don't have as a permanent dream the migration of populations to fertilize the populations of other countries. We have to be dynamic, take care of ourselves, so that maybe in the future we will be worried about reverse migrations instead of asking around migration. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We want to say a big thank you to the Honorable. So let us give our hand a clap again to the Honorable. Okay, thank you. So next on our agenda is remarks by the Minister of Youth and Sports.
Your Excellency is the Vice President, other cabinet ministers here present, I see the Minister of Labor and Consumer Affairs, who is the Director General of Legislation, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, fellow friends. I am the Minister of Youth and Sports, and I've been asked to make a little presentation later on. But again, they have asked me to make remarks. So I was wondering why, but then when I remember that the population says almost 75% of the people living here are young people or youth, so I should be given two opportunities. In 2008, I attended the ILO conference in Geneva, and while there I was opportune to speak to some people from India. And at the time we were supposed to do our census. And I was telling them I need to go back quickly. And they said, why? I said, we're doing census, I want to be counted. She said, what's the population? I think I did around 3.5. She said, oh, well, you want me just stay in one line and one digit too. So she was comparing our population with India. And which makes it even enough reason why we need to be serious. Look, let me say something. I want to be practical, your excellency. And I agree with the spoken word people. We need to be practical. And as Minister of Sports, I've seen a lot of things over the past few months. We got statistics, we got data. There's data to show that there is trafficking in persons here, internal human trafficking. That people are taking children from Capricorn, from Butu, from Zobo, and Lofa, bringing them under false pretext, and we see them doing street walking. Selling in the streets. When will we take these children to the streets? It's the reality. There's data to show that rubber plantations still got children doing hazardous work, going to help their parents to meet their quota. When will we bring an end to that? You go around here way, there are parts of the area where data from the child labor commission will show that little babies are there with their parents passing to run. So in my mind, thank you for the data. We'll talk about this later. We will be practical and go pragmatic. Thank you. God bless you.
It's going to be practical. It's going to be practical. Okay, so part of our main section again, we are talking about population. Today, that can we see what our data says. So we have a short video of our demographic dividends, and also a presentation of Liberia population dynamic. From the recent population census, and that will be done by Honorable Boyman Sin. He is the Deputy Director for Statistics at Legis. Let us get a big class for the Honorable, Mr. Honorable.
Age population. As the number of births each year declines, policymakers are talking excited about harnessing the demographic dividend for economic growth in their nations. With so much positive development underway, such as increases in education, improvements in health, and reduced poverty, many people believe that accelerated economic gains are right around the corner. But with almost 2 out of 3 Africans still living on less than $2 per day, much remains to be done. The demographic dividend is the accelerated economic growth that can happen as the population age structure changes, together with strategic investments in health, education, economic policy, and governance. But by no means is a demographic dividend automatic. The starting point is the population structure and how many dependent children there are in relation to the older working age population. As the number of births each year declines, the young dependent population grows smaller in relation to the working age population. With more workers and fewer young people to support, our country has a window of opportunity for accelerated economic growth known as the demographic dividend. Let's take a closer look at changing population structures in 2 countries, Thailand and Rwanda. We are going to start with Thailand's population pyramid in 1960. Each layer of this diagram is an age group, and the width of each layer represents the proportion of the population in that age group. It looks like a pyramid because when couples have many children, more people are added each year in the younger age groups at the base of the pyramid. In 1960, more than 40% of Thailand's population was under the age of 15, and women had an average of 6 children. During the 1960s and the decades that followed, mortality rates declined, desire for smaller families increased, and investments in family planning enabled rapid declines in fertility. By the 1990s, women were having an average of 2 children each, and as a result, population growth slowed. By 2010, Thailand's population was larger, and the age structure was transformed with a smaller population of young people. This change in the age structure helped accelerate economic growth. Today, Thailand's population is dominated by working-age adults who will be part of a productive labor force for many years. Let's now turn to Rwanda, a country that has made great progress over the last decade in improving health, lowering fertility, and increasing economic growth. Like much of Africa today, Rwanda's age structure is young, with 40% of the population under the age of 15 and an average of 4 to 5 children per woman. Even with Rwanda's progress, the age structure will stay young for several decades. In 2030, if fertility continues to decline to close to 3 children per woman, 35% of Rwanda's population will be under the age of 15, a higher percentage than in any country, including Thailand, that has realized a demographic dividend. In Rwanda and in many African countries that have not made similar progress, getting from here to here requires 3 key investments. First, improved child survival. In many African countries, more than 1 of every 10 children dies before they turn 5. Improving child health services allows more children to survive and leads to couples desiring smaller families. Second, space births and prevent unintended pregnancies. Currently, more than 50% of African women who don't want to become pregnant are not using a modern method of contraception. Increased investments in family planning will prevent unintended pregnancies, leading to fewer births per woman. Third, educate girls. Throughout Africa, only 1 out of 3 girls of secondary school age is enrolled in school. But when girls stay in school, particularly through secondary level, they are more likely to delay early marriage and childbearing and have healthier families. Together, these investments lead to lower fertility and mortality and enable the population structure to change, opening a window of opportunity for accelerated economic growth. We can see how declining fertility is related to economic growth in countries around the world on our Trendalizer graph. On the left axis, we have the average number of births per woman, which we call the fertility rate, going from 0 up to about 8. On the bottom, we have the gross national income, or GNI per person, ranging from 0 over to about $40,000 US. This is standardized for what a dollar can buy today in each country. The color of each bubble indicates the region. Starting with the red, we have East Asia and the Pacific. Orange is Central Asia and Europe. Yellow is for North and South America. Green is the Middle East. Light blue is for South Asia. And the dark blue is for Africa. The size of each bubble represents the population size of that country. So, bigger bubbles have bigger population. The year is 1980, and through the middle you can see a trend. As the average births per woman declines, the income per person rises. But we see that the dark blue African countries are clustered toward the back of this trend, with higher levels of fertility and lower levels of income. Let's look at a few of these countries. In 1980, fertility in these countries ranged between about 5 and 8 children per woman. Income was between $200 and $2,000 per person. Although we are only focusing on a few countries, this represents the range of the majority of African countries in terms of fertility and income in 1980. Let's bring back the rest of the countries and see what has happened since 1980. You can see the trend over time that countries are lowering fertility as they move down the graph, and at the same time, income per person is increasing as they move toward the right. When we come to 2010, the world is a very different place. We see that the African countries have made a lot of progress, though many are still clustered toward the back of this pack. But a few African countries have made strong progress in both lowering fertility and increasing income per capita. So let's go back and look at two of those, Botswana and Tunisia, to see what happened over time. In 1980, in Botswana, women had an average of 6 children each, and the income per person was almost $1,600. In Tunisia, fertility was slightly lower, just below 6 children per woman, and income was slightly higher, almost $1,900 per person. Let's see how things have changed. You see, income increased right away in Botswana, and although there are some bumps along the way, fertility is falling very rapidly in both countries. Although Botswana's rich natural resources have enabled economic growth, it is Botswana's sound economic policies and social priorities that have led to gains for development, and the country is internationally recognized for good governance and low corruption. Tunisia was one of the first countries in Africa to adopt a policy to reduce fertility in order to accelerate social and economic development. Both Botswana and Tunisia have long prioritized education for both boys and girls and have steadily invested in access to healthcare. Comparing today with where these countries started in 1980, we see that families have 2 or 3 fewer children.
So thank you, our crew there for the beautiful video. The video should be running for like 17 minutes, but we thought to cut it short for 10 minutes so that we can provide some basic highlights as it relates to the video. But our highlight will be practical on the numbers from Liberia, from the just completed 2022 population housing census. And so we'll stay on the existing protocol and we'll move right ahead. But before we go ahead, before I proceed, I'd like to give special recognition to people on whose shoulder you stay in Osei to CFA, Honorable Richard Fatoman Gafwan, for giving me this opportunity to do this presentation. Thank you. Next slide, please. So basically, our presentation will take us to looking at the Liberia demographic profile, some of the key challenges therein, and also looking at policies and some strategies with therein. Next slide, please. Next. Liberia, we've conducted 5 population censuses from 1962 to 2022. So the numbers you see there, they are also disaggregated by male and female. So as you speak, I heard the Minister of Defense saying when they went to India, the population was around 3.5 in 2008, that's correct. And probably the folks in India were saying that that's a very low number. As you speak, our population for Liberia is at 5.2. Next slide, please. So the video you saw there, we want to bring some relation to our population numbers. In 2008, our population base was as young as Thailand and also as Botswana. But currently for 2022, our population is now transitioning to the windows of opportunity that we spoke about. Usually, the windows of opportunity look at key indicators, fertility, the dependency ratio, and whatnot. So for the dependency ratio for Liberia, it stays at 58.8, and when you are in early window, it's between 40 to 66. So it tells us that there's a great opportunity for Liberia. Now that we have more people, our population pyramid is shifting, you have more younger people. Next please. So the trend in fertility, we talked to chapter that we did some triangulation, looking at not only census data, but also the demographic survey that we conducted over the period. So you look at the fertility, there's a decline in fertility from 1984 all the way there to 2022. Even though there's a decline, but there was some misconducted the malaria indicator survey that gave you a slight increase in between the fertility rate. Next slide, please. So child mortality takes into consideration 3 layers. Infant mortality, that's under 1 year. Child mortality 1 to 12 years, and then we look at under 5 mortality. There's also an indication that there is a decrease, except for infant mortality, where you have graph in the middle there and increasing. Next slide. And you see this in next slide, please. I will tell you why at the very end we share this presentation with all of you, because there are about 25 slides and 10 minutes to do the presentation, so you are happy. So as we speak, we want to show you some comparative analysis for mortality rate for Liberia and other countries. And then bar you see there in the red, that's a representation for Liberia. Why it is true that the mortality rate is still high in Liberia, there are other countries that are slightly higher than Liberia. Next slide, please. Maternal mortality is also shifting in between periods, and as we speak, the maternal mortality rate for Liberia is at 854. Next slide, please. We also want to give an indication of the comparison of mortality rate for Liberia and also African countries. We've already given an indication here. Life expectancy at birth. The life expectancy at birth has increased over the period, and as we speak, it's at 58 years. So it tells us from birth, on average, a Liberian, those in Liberia are expected to live for 58 years. Why it is true that the average life expectancy is 58, but if you look at the gender disaggregation, women demographically has proven that they live longer than men. So you see the female life expectancy at 61.2, while male is at 55.6. Next week. There will be so many questions for that, but we can take it, and if you are further interested, you can come over at our offices, we can discuss further. We also wish to give a classical display for the life expectancy for Liberia and that of other African countries. Why it is true that the life expectancy is increasing in Liberia, but there are still a lot more to be done. As we can see, other countries are far above us. Why it is true that it's still not too high, but we are also above other countries. Next slide, please. So we also need to flag the issue of urbanization for the population over time. It tells us that Liberia, the issue of rural-urban migration is getting higher. More people are moving from rural areas to urban areas. There are too many reasons for that. In economics, we call it the pull factor, and then we refer that as the push factor for those areas that they are living, and the pull factor to where people are moving. Next slide, please. So we also want to give a highlight on the issue of educational teaming of the population 5 years and older. It tells us that the population are not literate. They are not actually in school. Say no. So in between there, for the male and female category, it tells us, if we take into consideration tertiary education, it tells us that 5.7 male are in tertiary, percent of male are in tertiary education, while 3% of female are in tertiary education. This also is a relation to the video that was portrayed earlier. In South Africa, you have over 98% of female in education, while in West Africa is on at the reverse. For Liberia will be no exception. Next. So we also are by the working age group. When we want to do computation of the dependency ratio, we take into consideration 15 to 64 years, and those below 15 years, and 65 and above. Those are the population that are dependent on the people from 15 to 64 years. But this graph is a classic display that it tells you that more males are in salary work category as compared to female. Next slide, please. So the population projection for Liberia, as we speak, we thought to do that into 10-year cohort. So 10 years interval. So the population census was conducted in 2022. So we thought to also give you a highlight of the population, what would the population be like for 2042, 2052, and 2062. The numbers being displayed there will be the numbers. So if you take into consideration 2062, the population will be around 11,464,068. Next slide, please. So we also thought to give you a highlight of sectoral projection. And for this category, all of the numbers you see below 2022, we refer to them as the gap. What the situation is at 2022 is what you have there in red, and these are the gap. So it tells you the number of doctors that were required in 2022 was around 884. So if you do a computation of the doctor to patient ratio, it tells you that Liberia had a gap in 2022. Moving fast forward to 2062, we need additional 1,318 doctors for the population. Next slide, please. Also taking into consideration the primary students. For 2022, they were around 1.2 million. So holding all factors constant, around 2052, the addition will be 461,379. Next slide, please. So we also thought to flag some of our key policy recommendations as we saw some of the issues that were raised and listened to the spoken word, and we also saw in the video. So we are saying that measures should be taken, should be put in place to respond to the needs of the increasing population, as we know it increasing, to revise the population policy of the country. That maybe will go to the population commission for Liberia. The government should take advantage of the reduction in the demographic dividend dependency ratio that we spoke about earlier. The dependency ratio currently, as we speak, is around 58.8. That's a window of opportunity for Liberia. So that we should endeavor to go towards capital investment, human capital investment, development, and increasing school and working age population. It's also good to note that we have to look into the direction of strengthening conditions conducive to foster the environment so that the Bosch cohort can find good pay, well-paid jobs. Next slide, please. The government should also continue to expand access to secondary and vocational training institutions, specifically for those in rural areas and for our young girls. Social protection programs for healthcare, I saw the use of gender here, and income and food security, and emphasize on the rest agenda should continue to be implemented equitably to support vulnerable population. The government should also endeavor to ensure the production of adequate distribution of social services with emphasis on universal health coverage, education, housing conditions, and facilities that meet the issue of electricity, water supply, sanitation, open floor, and whatnot. The government should also endeavor to expand comprehensive reproductive health care, gave a highlight of some of the partners that should be involved into some of the policy recommendations. For example, the first issue, UNFPA, Ministry of Health and Ministries. And then if you look at the ninth issue there, we consider UNFPA and Ministry of Health to make sure that they handle the issue of reproductive health and family planning. And if we should spend on the usual words stated by the United Nations, leaving no one behind and reaching the farthest spread, it will be very good and proactive for all of us to embrace the power of inclusive data and towards a resilient and equitable future for Nigeria. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kamara. One thing that I took away from this is that Liberia is entering the window of opportunity. Mr. Buenos, sorry. Yeah, so it's now time for the youth to take the stage. So now we have spoken words from Mr. Justin D. Morris II. So put your hands together as we welcome Mr. Morris on the stage. It's a duet with Miss Teti Bonard. Goes by the name Leslie.
Hello, everybody. Hi. My name is Desi Alexandra Bonard. I go by the penny Desi Green, and I'm here along with.
I'm Justin Barak Morris II, and I'm just Barak, and we'll be performing a piece called The Non-Immigrant Experience.
Been broken down and tired of living life on merry-go-round.
1847, 460,000 people. This nation constructed the pillars of its democracy, broke the architectural stereotypes of captivity, and became independent.
With our hands across our chests, we pledge allegiance to this flag, this flag, this flag, this flag that counted countless of our women as numbers, as if they were objects, each one of them, stripped naked of their rights, to vote, to belong, to feel, to identify, to be identified.
You see, they say every man bears his own cross, but for so long, these women bore double crosses of suffering and rejection, yet they, when counted as citizens, we are more than just numbers.
1947, 1.1 million people. After a century of rebuilding, after a century of rebuilding, of realigning, of reuniting, we opened our beautiful landscapes and welcomed our borders to seas that would engulf this land with its greed, pride, travel, segregation, and corruption.
We were hunters and narratives in our own homes. With our minds fixated on peace, we were forcibly transformed into praise.
Praise whose story lies in the courtyard of eternity.
Praise whose rumbling spirit boomed the core of this land. And agony stretches across the PhD park, like a mother in Gaza, who cries to the soul for the life of a baby, like bayonets pointing to people people to post simply like auction loose. We think about how did the other people forget to celebrate the memories of 1847, but remember to put the triggers of 1847?
See our lives like a candlelight in the open, exposed to the breeze. Our lives are snuffed out the moment we become revealers. Yet we say we are one people.
One people counted as numbers.
Numbers that make up the system.
System that calls us a population. A population whose dreams and goals are lost between the constant struggles of hate and love and suicidal thoughts. Yet, we are more than just numbers.
We are more than just numbers. So dear, change the rules. Please do not add wood to fire. Please do not abuse our wounds by making this declaration. Because we know the statistics.
64% of this country live below the poverty line. 74.5% of our baby mothers do not have access to proper health care. 51.7% of our people are illiterate yet.
The black student across the streets still remains politically hard.
While the help of my grandmother who got told lies at the hands of our black ancestors, you see, this is why my mother tells me the road to success in Liberia is not between the pages of notebooks, but I have refused to succumb to this mediocrity of talk without act, this mediocrity of fighters fighting themselves without integrity. So today, like the desert rose, will
rise up, we'll rise up today, we'll rise up. In spite of the ache, we'll rise up. We'll do it 1,000 times again.
Thank you so much. I don't know, I honestly want the congregation to sing the song. We'll rise up again. We will do it 1,000 times again. So, we are at a very crucial part of this event. It's a very beautiful learning session that will be coming up. It will be the panel discussion on policy implications for Liberia based on the demographic limited video that you just watched and the presentation on the population dynamics of Liberia. And we will now call on stage our moderators, Mr. Emmanuel Wizzy, a youth advocate on climate action, and Mistress Marjorie Graham Wright, who will be our moderator for today. Thank you.
Honorable Jeremiah Panko, the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, our distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen. Final discussion on the topic, policy implications for Liberia for the current population dynamics. I am Mrs. Marjorie M. Wright, a program associate from Wilson and youth advocate with interest in children and youth. Today, I have with me my co-moderator.
I'm Emmanuel D. Wilson, and I'm Program Director at the Liberian Youth for Climate Actions, and we will be your moderators.
So, before we run through our discussion for today, I would like to say thank you to the Vice President of Liberia, our distinguished guest, one of the participants, for showing interest in this discussion. And today, our first panelist will be someone from the Ministry of Education, the Minister actually, Dr. Jaso Jala. Can you please put a round of applause for him? Yes.
And our second panelist for today is the Deputy Minister for Policy and Planning at the Ministry of Gender, Children, and Social Protection is Honorable Curtis Doyle. Please put your hands together for me.
So, okay, we have another interesting panelist, and she's from the Ministry of Health, Dr. Noah Mobudole Dennis, the Director of Family Health Division, Ministry of Health. Please put a round of applause for the lady.
And our next panelist is from LISTIS, that is the Liberian Institute for Statistics and Geoinformation Services, Honorable Richard F. Gafwan, the Director General. Can you please put your hands together for me?
So we also have another interesting panelist for today. Interesting, I feel like he's one of my missing uncle. And I'm grateful to have him here today. I would like to see him. He's no one else but Mr. Jim Wright. Where are you? I would like to see my uncle if he's here. And he's a mission director for USAID. Oh!
All right, and we also have the Minister of Youth and Sports, who's supposed to be on this panel, is Honorable Gerald Cole Bangalo. Can you please put your hands together for him? And finally, I hope that's the final.
Final, and she's Hannah Moba, UWC Davis Scholar, student of biology. So we have our last panel, and it's Mr. Wellington Bashu. Please put a round of applause for him. So we'd like to officially welcome you people again, and it's exciting to have you all on the panel. Thank you.
For today's panel discussion, we have 8 panelists, and each of our panelists is going to have 3 minutes to share their reflection based on questions posed to you. We are asking you to please stay in time as we gracefully ask you to slow down a bit so that we can live in time so that this can go on smoothly. All right? Now, turning over to you, the jury.
I'm just going to ask to introduce the first panelist, and Dr. Juso Jana. I'd like to say welcome again. And in 3 minutes, can you please share your top 3 reflections on this question? From the education perspective, how can Liberia leverage innovative solutions, including digitalization, to create more opportunities for young people?
Thomas Mpata, Assistant Minister of Family Research, Development and Professional Education. To answer the question, in 2021, the Ministry of Education, with support from the World Bank, developed a strategy on IT education. And part of the strategy
was focused on schools and the proposed action to develop RTC module across the entire school system. The strategy stipulates that all stakeholders need to responsibly integrate RTC into their existing teaching and learning practices. The strategy also provides 4 keys: teaching, learning, and assessment using RTC, teacher professional learning, leadership research and policy, and also RTC infrastructure. We're speaking about including digitization to create intentional young people. So, it also supports with that. The AROS project provided for us in one of the CIO seminary schools, the digital system. The system has computer labs, digital libraries, solar system, infrastructure, e-learning materials, etc. Currently, we are engaging with the LTA in terms of having internet facilities to these schools. The conversation at LTA will soon be concluded, and we will also be recruiting teachers between the schools to improve the digitalization. The project itself will trigger interest in the young people in the deserving to know their existing environment and also be known. It will also provide an opportunity to access data on population, data on education, data on infrastructure. It will also trigger interest in them knowing what is happening beyond the immediate environment. So to answer the question of how to leverage innovation solutions, including digitalization, these are just some of the few things that the Minister of Education is currently using along with the partners.
Thank you.
We talked about data access, and we talked about being able to access information beyond the students' environment. Thank you so much. And that brings us to our next panelist. This question is directed to the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, specifically to Honorable Wellington Bashu. Mr. Bashu, the population of Liberia has increased, as we just watched from the presentation. So what are the main policy implications and challenges that keep you as a person up at night? What gives the optimism that there can be much done for Liberia?
Thank you very much. The increase in population in developing countries can be a cause or a blessing. It can be a cause or blessing based on the type of policies that country implements. For example, if a nation fails to implement the right mix of policies, there will be societal problems, as we see in Liberia. Drug abuse, high unemployment rate, especially among youth, increased demand for basic social services, and etc. And with regard to these challenges, there's a need that we step out now to address them. Now, as the government is in the process of crafting its new 5-year development plan, the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development, we have a golden opportunity to harness the dividend that increase in population brings with it, especially the youthful population. Like the Deputy DG from Lady said, we have the youthful population that should be somewhere around 63%. I think we need to harness that opportunity that comes along with it. But to do that, we need to take deliberate policy actions. For example, we need to look at policies or prioritize policies that will harness the synergy amongst the different sectors. In the education sector, we need to now divert our attention from what I term as the definitional learning
promote creative learning, to produce not only employees, but entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs that will provide jobs. In the agriculture sector, we need to go beyond just providing subsidies for our farmers to formulating and implementing those policies that will attract investment that will produce staple food in Liberia, such as rice, food that can supply both the domestic market and that will be able to export to bring in foreign exchange. And also, we need to invest in our human resource because the human resource is the most important resource in any nation. In the absence of that, we will not benefit from the dividend that the increase in population brings to any nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for clarifying that. We'd like to move on to our next panelist, and this is going to Dr. Noel Abudullah Dennis. Madam Dennis, Dr. Dennis, I would like to ask, given Liberia's high maternal mortality rate, what can be done to ensure sexual and reproductive health and rights remain at the center of national development? In 3 minutes, can you share your thoughts with us?
Yes, hopefully I can do it less than 3 minutes. All protocol observed, the minister asked me to extend her sincere apologies. She had planned to be here, but due to the current launch of the global fund at the Monrovia City Hall, she had to make a last-minute decision. So she asked me to represent her at this all-important forum. So the issue of maternal mortality is currently high on the Ministry of Health agenda, and we have taken several steps within the past 5 months to address some of these issues. The conference actually started after the Ebola epidemic, when our maternal death increased from around 500 to 742 deaths per 100,000 live births. And then the President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf declared maternal and newborn death as a public health emergency to be reported within 48 to 72 hours. That emergency declaration still stands, and the ministry is still committed to that. Moving forward, to answer your question and not to waste much of your time, we have just key interventions based on high impact practices that we have seen in other countries. The first one is to increase advocacy, especially to the legislature, for budget allocation for family planning, to support family planning and other high impact practices that have been shown to increase the uptake of family planning formalities and to address the unmet needs of family planning, especially amongst the young people. The next one is investment in social behavior communication. As you know, the issue of family planning is critical. However, there are key myths that we need to demystify if we are to increase the uptake of family planning, especially amongst our young people. The next one is to invest in the training of young and youthful services providers. Okay, young service providers. One of the key issues that keep coming back from post-implementation research is that young people complain of stigmatization, especially when the family planning service structure is located within the hospital. So they keep saying, once they see them going in, they conclude that they have already started quote-unquote main business. And because of that, most often they shy away from utilizing these services. So we are now considering investment in skill and loan structure for youth service, especially for young people, and to also populate these services with young or youthful service providers. Because most often the complaint is, when my mother is a service provider who will give me a family planning commodity, you can just imagine the questions that will come. Oh, small girl like you started doing this thing already. So all of those things actually have been reported as key hurdles to the uptake of family planning services in Liberia. So once we can address some of those things, and before I conclude, we have already started creating some messages. But again, I will stop here and give other people the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for staying in time. That brings us to fundamental services. We spoke about investing in standalone facilities and also in young service providers. Thank you so much. That brings us now to our next panelist. And this question goes to our Honorable Curtis Dolan, who is the Deputy Minister for Research, Policy and Planning at the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. Mr. Dolan, what policy measures and partnerships are required to ensure gender equality, inclusive growth, and human capital development for an ultimately sustainable development? Mr. Dolan.
Thank you very much. I'd like to stand on existing protocols to recognize the presence of Honorable Vice President and members of the High Table. I also bring to meetings with the Minister of Gender, Minister Velmi Horace Polly, who have all been here, but she's busy with some mission visiting the country, and she has asked that we represent her. I also want to clarify that when we got the letter, our information was that we're going to present people at this conversation. However, when we joined the Ministry of Gender, we have started to work on different policies to be able to improve the services that we provide in the gender space. One of the documents that we saw there has to do with our national gender policy that has expired. That gender policy, currently, we are doing an inline evaluation. We want to ensure that in that policy, the revised policy, the issue of women empowerment is key, because if you look at the statistics on ages, the 2022 statistics, we say 49.4% constitute the population of women in the country. That's a very huge number. So we are working on different policies to ensure that women are included in the conversation. I'd like to also emphasize that our colleague from the Ministry of Finance is here. The national agenda, the NREX agenda for inclusive development. One of the policy measures we're taking is that gender mainstreaming is going to be a pillar that stands alone in that national document. And it will be spread across every second of the literature in the document. We want to thank our colleagues from the UN family supporting us in that direction to ensure that the issue of gender is inclusive. Women empowerment is something very critical. Education and skill development for women, economic empowerment, healthcare and well-being, and so many different policy directions we are taking to ensure that women are included in the discussion.
Thank you very much. I'm going to move on to the next panelist, and It's from Ministry of Youth and Sports. That's Honorable Gerald Hope Banku. And we have heard from Honorable Thomas on this question, but that was due to the education perspective. But now we would like to hear from you. How can Liberia leverage innovative solutions, including digitalization, to create more opportunities for young people?
Thank you very much. And I hope I'm clear now. And so, thanks for the question. And talking about digitalization, we need to leverage our strategies on innovative solutions. If the about 75% of this country population will be the focus. So at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, what we have initiated with partners and youth groups is to define the opportunities that young people need that will lead to formulation of the strategy for leveraging innovative solutions. So in October this year, the Ministry of Youth and Sports will convene a national youth conference and summit that is intended to upskill and validate the national youth policy and action plan 2024 to 2028. So at that conference, it is expected that the opportunity needs of the young people of Liberia will be reprofiled so they can be directed toward national and harmonized intervention. So without prejudice to that conference, higher quality education, professional skills training, social participation, youth peace and security, safe space, access to family, etc. opportunities that digital transformation will amplify and multiply. So at the policy level, we intend to create increased opportunities for young people, taking advantage of the current disruptive technology, which is this digital state we find ourselves in. So we intend to invest in digital infrastructure, especially at our TVET level. You know, at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, we also run technical application and training. So improving internet connectivity and expanding access to digital devices will be crucial means through our TVET program that this can be leveraged. And we also intend to promote digital skills development and providing training programs on digital literacy, coding, online marketing, and other relevant skills to equip young Nigerians. You may have heard recently that the president pronounced 10,000 young people to initiate digital training program. So that is just jump starting. You know, there are more than 10,000 young people. So using our TVET facilities and other private sector interventions, we intend to enhance the whole idea of making Liberia a digital world. We cannot bring the young people now who want to go digital. Like the president said the other day, the BBC, maybe they were born before computer. You allow the young people to go digital. Thank you.
Thank you so much for staying time, sir. You spoke about several things. Youth Summit in October, which he says geared toward validating the national youth policy. You talked about youth profiling in Liberian youth. You talked about social participation, and you also spoke about investing in digital infrastructure and promoting digital skills development. These things are key, and your answers are just a point for us. And so this brings us to our next panelist, and this question goes to Honorable Richie F. Gafwan, who is the Director General at LISGIS. And sir, given the significant changes in Liberia's demographic profile, what strategic policies and investment are essential to further harness the demographic dividend and ensure sustainable socio-economic growth in the coming decades?
Thank you very much. Let me first recognize the President of our Vice President, His Excellency Jeremiah Franklin, Vice President of the Great People of Nigeria, members of the High Table, members of the Diplomatic Corps President. The first thing is, when we talk about demographic dividend, we are talking about the benefits that we will get in terms of economic growth because of declining fertility, declining mortality, leading to the reduction in age dependency ratio. This reduction in age dependency ratio leads to a bulge in the working age population, that is from 15 to 64. And as the Deputy Director says, 63% of the Liberian population is within that age gap. In order to harness and utilize that particular population and benefit from demographic dividend, we first of all need to look at labor economic demand and supply side issues. What are they? If you look at the supply side, we need to promote human capital development. Human capital development, training people in terms of technical and vocational education, promoting universal primary and secondary education. If we do that, to a larger extent, we'll be able to provide the requisite skills for people. But as Viola Nathan, the young poet said, that education is the key, but sometimes the key is not present. So it is also relevant to look at issues in terms of the demand side, ensuring that requisite jobs are provided within the economy. Now, if we're talking about jobs that are relevant to the existing economic situation of the country, a huge proportion of our population is in the agricultural sector to a larger extent. What are we doing in order to train people to work not just in subsistence agriculture, but skilled agriculture, so as to improve agricultural productivity and also improve food security? We have to focus on that to a larger extent. We talk about various public and economic policy. Thankfully, we are progressing towards the formulation of a new development plan. And the new development plan, fortunately, will look at a lot of issues that have to do with ameliorating the conditions of our people.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. So we would like to move on to our next finalist. And that happens to be my fond uncle. But I and my uncle will discuss our family issues after we leave here. But I just want you, Mr. Jim Wright, I just want you to share your reflection on this in 3 minutes for us. What social and economic reforms and partnerships are needed to better respond to the needs of Liberia's increasing population, especially vulnerable women and young people? Would you like me to go over that?
That's fine. I want to save time. So I enjoyed watching the video earlier, and I took down 3 key points from the video about what is needed in order for Liberia to capitalize on its demographic movement. And when I saw that, I was very pleased. So I think I got this right. This just will correct me if I'm wrong. Number one was to improve child health. 2 was ensure we're working on them. We need to work harder on them. Child health, the U.S. government, we work very closely with the Ministry of Health, have a very strong partnership. It includes service delivery throughout the country with a focus on maternal and child health. So I think we need to continue to invest. We are making progress, but we still have more progress to do. Family planning, similarly, we're working very closely with the Ministry of Health on family planning. And it's not easy, it's very sensitive, but we're working closely to make sure that we're taking support the program. Girls' education. The U.S. government is working very closely with the Ministry of Education on improving the overall education system strengthening, and following the theme here, increasing the availability of data and use of data to make good decisions. Increasing the number of teachers, we have a lot more teachers needed. However, our focus is not really on girls, because boys need education too. The education system really, we need educated boys and girls. However, on girls, I think there are a few measures that we need to continue to support. One would be increasing the availability of nutritious meals at schools. We found that providing food in schools between boys and girls. And I must say in closing that one of the big problems, I don't have the answer to, but anytime I go around a health facility, a hospital, a clinic in Liberia, I see teenagers, pregnant teenagers. There are too many pregnant teenagers, and that is condemning them to poverty. So I don't have the answers to that, but it's a problem we need to work on. Thank you.
I really like the fact that you said it's prioritizing to improve child health in Liberia. And what really draws me to his answer is the fact that they're not only looking at girls' education, but they're also trying to prioritize boys' education as well. So I'll move on to my co-moderator, who will close for us with the last panelist.
Well, I want to say thanks to Mr. Wright. You made some really great answers, referencing the video, speaking about family planning services, child and maternal health, educational, where you talk about system strengthening and using data to make informed policies, which are good. And that brings us now to the most important panelist, the receivers of all of these services, the young people. We want to get the perspective of the young people, and today representing the young people is Miss Hannah Malba from she's a UWC Davis Scholar. She currently studies biology, and so Anna, what do you think are the key priorities of Liberia's youth that should be considered in the most talked about and risk agenda, and the contribution of young people toward its implementation?
Alright, thank you for that question. Once again, my name is Hannah Boba, and I'm a junior student at the Methodist University in North Carolina. As a young Liberian, I believe that the key priorities of Liberian youth that should be considered in the ARES agenda are access to quality education, vocational training, employment opportunity, and rehabilitation for youth cultures, which are commonly called Zogo. It is crucial that every young Liberian have access to quality education that prepares them and equip them with skills that is needed for the development of Liberia. Also, creating job opportunities for young Liberians will not only address the issue of unemployment, but will also empower them to be financially independent. And for the contribution of young people in the implementation of this agenda would be, as young Liberians, we can contribute by advocating for our needs and concern.
continue to be addressed. Also, we can use our skills and talent to support the implement initiative that support that align with the gender goals.
Wow. So the young people being represented here today are saying for the address agenda to be very inclusive, young people need access to quality education, and our young people need to be rehabilitated. We need skills to aid with national development. We need job opportunities so that we are empowered and we leave the state of dependency, become independent, and also to give us skills that support the agenda on overall. Given these answers, we've come to a conclusion of our panel discussion here, and I would like for us, the audience, to give a big hand on the floor to our panelists who have made very creative contributions. I want to say thanks to everybody, and we're out.
Thank you. I see some people are sleeping. Some people are sleeping already. So it's just the perfect timing to have on stage a choir performance from our young and energetic choir, the Saba Air Christian School of Excellence Choir. Thank you. But I think they need a bigger hand of applause. Because I think the room was a little bit dark, but it brought a little bit of bounce. And I think we have been revived by the performance. And I noticed one thing, that the Vice President kept nodding his head. So I believe, and I trust, I know that he was in this performance. The little one, I was thinking, what is she going to do? But she knew her role and she played it very well. Thank you, and thank you. Yes, definitely. We look forward to more of that, Mr. Ambassador. Mr. Paul Bangalore, Minister of Youth and Sports, Madam Lieutenant Bronson, Deputy Minister for Budget Planning, Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Madam Christine Imotoni, UN Resident Coordinator, Madam Patricia Pillay, Country Representative of UNFPA, Your Excellency, Ben Yala A. Gang, the Doyen and members of the diplomatic corps, our officials of government here present, heads of UN agencies, special invitees, students, the fourth estate, fellow Liberians, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. As we gather here today in celebration of World Population Day and the launch of the 2024 State of the World Population Report by the government of the Republic of Liberia and the United Nations Population Fund, I am pleased and honored to invite to this microphone the Honorable Jeremiah Pankun, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, for a special statement and official launch of the report. Mr. Vice President.
Thank you, and please be seated. You know, when the kids are performing, I thought the program was too short. We need to give them more time to perform so that they enjoy that. I'm speaking from the Excellency, the President of the Republic of Liberia, President Joseph Yoma Waka. He's out there. Members of the legislature, if anyone here, officials of government, members of the diplomatic corps, members of the United Nations International Agency, representative of civil society, representative of young people, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Ever since, every year, since 1987, the world has celebrated World Population Day on July 11. This day is set aside to highlight the importance of population dynamics in development and to promote comprehensive and inclusive policies that ensure human rights, social justice, and sustainable development. The theme for this year's celebration, embracing the power of inclusive data towards a resilient and equitable future for all, is particularly significant. 30 years ago, at the International Conference on World Population and Development, the world agreed to put people, but especially the rights of women and girls, at the heart of development. This has led to significant progress in women's access to reproductive care, reduction in maternal death, and improvement in gender equality. However, for our country to make further progress, we must continue to utilize evidence-based research and available data to inform our policy decisions and implement programs that improve the livelihood of our people. Liberia is proud of the completion of its milestone census. Despite our many challenges, this census provides useful data for evidence-based development planning. I would like to use this occasion to extend my sincere gratitude to the UNFPA Liberia for their technical support. also like to thank our development partners, the UN country team, the World Bank, the government and people of the United States, Ireland, Sweden, and Ghana. Let me commend the leadership and staff and volunteers, the Liberian Institute for Statistics and Geoinformation Services, who made the census process successful. The government arrest agenda will be used. The government arrest agenda will use evidence-based research data to address the social economic challenges faced by our people. As we implement this arrest agenda, we are committed to ensuring that the rights of women and girls, our young people, are mainstream across all sectors, providing a foundation for the future. We will also work with the legislature to ensure that the laws and policies we pass reflect our national priorities and are inclusive of all people, particularly the elderly and people with disabilities. I will embrace the opportunity to work with the legislature and to constitute and development with technical and financial assistance from the UNFPA. This committee of 20 lawmakers will strategically advance policy discussions on reproductive health, women's empowerment, gender equality, the elderly, adolescent, and youth. Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the State of the World Population is an annual report published by the United Nations Population Fund, the UN Agency for Sexual and Reproductive Health. Each edition covers and analyzes development trends, reproductive health, and analyzing development trends in the world population and demography, highlighting specific region, countries, and population groups, and the unique challenges they face. It is my distinguished honor to officially launch this year UNFPA State of the World Population Report. The report is entitled Interwoven Life, Trends of Hope, Ending Inequality in Sexual and Reproductive Health and Rights. I encourage you all to take interest in reading and widely sharing this year's State of the World Population Report. The report contains valuable information and analysis on global, regional, and national population dynamics. We must also continue to analyze and use the census data in Liberia and track our development progress. It is therefore my pleasure to officially launch the 2024 State of the World Population Report. Happy World Population Day, and I thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. As you have launched the World Population Day report, I am pleased and honored and overwhelmed to once again invite you to come and receive the report. We also want to invite His Excellency King Scott, the Ambassador Extraordinary, yes, and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of Ghana. You know fully well that Ghana was fully involved into our census and taking. I want to commend the people of Ghana. They gave us all of the tablets, and our work was done with some high level sophistication, dedication, and accuracy. Please bring the report, hand it over to the Ghanaian ambassador. So we expect them to build the life. So, Mr. Ambassador, Mr. Vice President, you just say a word, and then you unveil the report. The platform guest also has report. Please, Madam King, come along with the Vice President so that they will display. And the Minister, please join the Vice President as they unveil the report. As the report is being unveiled, it's not for themselves, but it's for us. The Vice President told us to read the report, not just read the report, analyze the report, not just analyze the report, but make a use of the report. Seems as if the Vice President party is fully tight. Thank you. Keep on building. So can we just all clap as the report is now being unveiled and displayed. I think it would be appropriate for the Vice President to get some fun so that we display the report so that the photographers can have very well. The Minister of Youth and Sport, Your Excellency, other ambassadors can please join. Those that have report, please unveil yours. Honorable Minister, please join the Vice President. Panelists, please join. Your Excellency, you have to unveil the report. Unveil the report. All right. Unveil the report. Pastor says, now we are destroyed. So can we just display? And the rest of us join in giving a hand of applause for the World Population Day report now being unveiled. Thank you, and thank you. So thank you. Thank you. The State of the World Population Report has been launched, has been released, and we've come to the end of this event. We will have information from our chief organizer on the closure, followed by benediction by our volunteer religious leader.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to thank every one of you for coming. Now, as it relates to the serving of the food, if you did not receive tickets, you will be ushered to the VIP room, and that is our first two rows. The first two rows will be ushered to the VIP room along with our panelists by Mr. Charles Lawrence. The high table will also be upstairs in the Vice President room. The rest of you will be seated until our VIP leave and go into the room, and then you will be served through that door, the entrance, or they say exit. So you go out and then you turn on your, okay, that will be your left, and you will be served, okay? Was that very clear? I see a lot of doubts on faces. So the first two rows, along with our panelists, will be served in a VIP room on my left. As soon as you step outside, Mr. Lawrence will usher every one of you, that is members of the diplomatic corps and our special guests. Members of the high table will be escorted upstairs along with the Vice President. Thank you. And the rest of you will be served outside in the hall on my right. Thank you. And those that will be served on my right are those that received tickets. Thank you.
Thank you. As we come to the end of this program, we invite personally the ambassador of the recipient to please come and give our benediction.
We ask the Lord to bless us all and to give us strength to answer our prayers and to continue to work on this leader for the county and for the population. We ask this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
So everyone, please remain seated as our VIP leads. Charles, please help me.
But he was still, well, I'm not.
See you. See you. See you.
If you don't have tickets, that's what that means. You are not in your chair.
See you.
The entire survey does not have ticket, right?
See you.
Watch your field of winning tickets.
See you.
So, for those of you that have tickets, go through that door and then you go in the hallway and you will get your food. Those of you that have tickets, if you don't have tickets, it means that you are not in your seat when I was distributing. So just wait. All tickets coming. All tickets coming.
you.